This is Joe Juba, co-host of SADcast, a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. Each show on the network is independently owned, and the views expressed may not represent those of other podcasts. For the best education podcast, visit edupodcastnetwork.com.
AI in education isn't really a tech problem. It's a clarity problem. Teachers don't know what's allowed. Students don't know what's okay. And schools are still trying to figure out how to communicate all of it. So what if the solution wasn't another big platform, but something simple, living right inside of Google Classroom? And here's the best part. Today's guest didn't even set out to build what we're about to share. Strike up the band. Welcome to the House of EdTech. My name is Chris Nesi. The House of EdTech launched in 2014, giving me the opportunity to speak with teachers, leaders, and creators so you can more effectively integrate technology, strengthen your pedagogy, and have more confidence in your classroom and school so you can make an impact. Get involved with the podcast by visiting my website, chrisnesi.com. Using technology isn't difficult, and this is where it begins. This is the House of EdTech. Welcome back to another episode of the House of EdTech podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. Today we're getting into one of the biggest challenges facing schools right now. That's right, artificial intelligence. And more specifically, how can we actually make sense of it in our classrooms? My guest today is Derek Tranchina. He's a former middle school math teacher who turned a simple idea into something much bigger. A tool designed to help schools clearly communicate AI expectations at the point of learning. In this conversation, we're going to talk about what it really takes to build with AI, why most schools are struggling with policy and consistency, and how a simple traffic light system might actually bring some clarity to the chaos. This is a conversation about solving real problems in the classroom and what happens when you listen, pivot, and build with purpose. Let's get into it, and let's talk to Derek. Derek, welcome to the House of EdTech.
Chris, thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. What is TrafficLite?
TrafficLite is an AI policy governance tool for schools that lives in Google Classroom.
Why did you make this? What inspired you to create this tool that is certainly going to make an impact on education, especially for all these Google for Education schools?
No one's asked me that. So I will tell you, I've been a traveling consultant for a little while, for maybe about 10 years, delivering PD to schools. AI came on the scene, and it's, at first it was Google Classroom and Google Tools. I had the special privilege of working for Rich Kiker and Kiker Learning for a long time.
I love me some Rich Kiker. He's the man.
Legend. So then 3 years or so, it's been AI only. And I find myself in these rooms with teachers and administrators, and I'm talking about how schools need policies, students need transparency. And not only that, but one of the biggest industry use cases of AI is coding. And anybody can code anything now. So I'm like, you know what, let me put my money where my mouth is and let me try this. So I start tinkering behind the scenes. They call it vibe coding, which I didn't know was a thing. I didn't know I was vibe coding at the time.
Right, because that's really just about like if you can think it and you can sort of articulate it, the AI will do the coding piece.
Correct. It's prompting to write code. And I thought I was going to build something great. And let me tell you, it is not easy. The human in the loop effect is real for vibe coding. If you think you're just going to prompt any AI and have it build you something useful and meaningful, I think that's a little bit naive. But I will tell you, you do see progress pretty quickly, and it's pretty, addicting. It's satisfying, and I'm much more of a tinkerer and creator and patient problem solver than I realized I was, because I kind of dove into this and stuck with it. It's been over a year now, and I eventually need a lot of help from friends who are developers people in EdTech who have experience with this, other vibe coders. And I finally put a system in place, and I built a tool that I thought would be cool. It was not what it is now. Originally, it was a little traffic light with red, yellow, and green that teachers can basically send to students as a little pop-up, and they can ask a question on the top of the traffic light. It pops up on student screens and they can reply. I built it because I was a math teacher for 10 years. And I can't tell you how many times I asked, are there any questions? And no one raises their hand. And then the next day I give a test and like half the kids fail. And I'm like, why didn't anybody ask questions? And it's because they're embarrassed. Middle school kids especially, would rather melt into their chair than ask for help in front of their peers, right? So I thought I'd make like a discrete check for understanding tool, and I built it. It was working. I was really proud of it. Took me like 6 months. I put it on social media and immediately get a phone call from a friend. He's a principal and he's like, hey, Derek, we could really use this in our school. We're doing this paper pencil now. And I'm like, how is he doing student check-ins paper pencil? That sounds really weird. I get on the phone with him and he tells me, that's actually not what I thought it was. Like, I thought it was an AI usage policy tool. And I said, that's interesting. Maybe I should build that.
Awesome.
Right? And then I learned like the ability to pivot based on what your audience wants and needs is a valuable skill. And I didn't know it at the time. I just thought I would make something for a friend since I knew how to do it. And I had already set up the infrastructure to kind of create these products and these softwares. So I did a 180 and I built it. I had a lot of the design in place. The design elements were done. So I could just build a different, widget and placement and different homepage. And next thing you know, Traffic Light was born, and I kind of completely sunsetted the check for understanding tool. I saved the code in a different place if that ever comes up again, but I'm leaning full head of steam into the AI use scale side of it because it seems like there's a need for it. I put one social media post. I got almost 100 random users already. I have 5 schools already signed up for a pilot, and this is 2 weeks ago. I posted this, so it's granted I don't know what the future is going to look like. I don't know that everybody's going to need this long term, but right now I feel like I'm solving a problem for folks and it's really rewarding and there's something here. I'm just trying to optimize it, ensure it's working, get feedback. I'm trying to build it for the users with the end users in mind, and it's going good so far.
Who are the end users for Traffic Light? Is it teachers? Is it students? Who's using it?
It's teachers and administrators. Right now, there is no student Traffic Light portal at all. And for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't want to touch student data. I don't feel ready to do that just yet. And if we look at where AI is now in education, it's less of a tech conversation and it's more of a leadership one, right? And we're learning that students and teachers, they want transparency, they want guidance, they want to know what's okay and what's not, what's vetted, what isn't. What should I do with this? Because just sharing the bright, shiny tools and use cases, that's fun, but it doesn't really move the needle for teaching and learning, in my opinion, as much as it could. So putting AI usage policies directly on Google Classroom at the point of learning, it communicates directly to students what's expected. It communicates directly to parents and guardians what's allowed and what's expected. It's seamless for teachers. It's a convenience tool for teachers. I think the value is for administrators to, number one, control the policy for their whole domain, their whole school. They can create subgroups where like the 7th grade has this policy, the 8th grade has this policy, and we can make 3 color policies, 4 color policies. There's a 5 color scale. So you can customize it for different groups. You control what language is put in the policy. So all the teacher has to do is click a button and inject that language right into Google Classroom instructions. Everybody sees it. Administrators also get data just to know, is this policy even working? Is it being implemented with fidelity? Are we all in the red? Are we still resisting AI? And if so, how do we get them to move to yellow or orange, green, or whatever color scale you're using, right? Because there's different ways to approach that. So I also tried to model these scales off of research-backed frameworks. And the one I'm thinking of is the Leon Furs AI assessment scale. We based most of our policies off that. Those are going to continue to evolve, and they're customizable by domain and school.
From being on the website, which again is TrafficLiteEdu.com, you say you built it primarily for, I guess, the district level IT people to kind of integrate these district AI policies. But I also see on the website that an individual teacher could go and use it. What's the difference between those two ways that somebody can use TrafficLiteEdu?
For a teacher, TrafficLite is just a policy page where the teacher can customize whether they want a 3, 4, or 5 color scale and what each of those colors mean. And then once they save that language and that policy, then they don't ever have to go to their policy page again. They can simply go to Google Classroom. And when they go to make a post, the AI usage scale widget will appear directly next to like the instructions field. So it's a convenience tool for teachers. Instead of copying and pasting policies,
right,
it's right there. The value, I think, is in the admin control. If a bunch of teachers are using the tool and they're all using it differently, administrators probably want to get some consistency to confirm everybody's implementing the district policy in the right way. It might go against some popular opinion for teachers to hear that I'm building an admin EdTech tool, right? Like I'm a teacher advocate. Like I said, I spent 10 years in the middle school math class, but I also feel like the best way sometimes to help students is to help teachers. And the best way to help teachers sometimes is to help administrators and schools. And it's all for the love of the ecosystem.
But you know what? That makes a lot of sense because, there are again, I'm a classroom teacher, and there are aspects of what I do as a classroom teacher where I don't want to have to make that decision. And when it comes to AI policy, I don't want that on my shoulders. That should be a district level decision where that can be disseminated and distributed, no different than a grading policy or a district approved curriculum. I think that makes a lot of sense, and you shouldn't catch any flack for that.
Thank you, Chris, man. I needed to hear that. But I will tell you too, just like you probably are, and you probably know a lot of these teachers, you have your high flyers, your innovators, your early adopters who are like, I'm not waiting for the district to make a decision. They don't have a policy yet. I'm going to make one. I want my students using these tools appropriately, responsibly. However, they need guidance. They need to know when it's okay, when it's not. So I'm going to download the tool. It's an extension. It's a software. It's simple. It's light. Like I said, you click the extension icon, it opens up one page for teachers. They customize the policy and they can kind of go full speed ahead and maybe set the model for innovation and AI usage in their own school.
Now, I need to apologize. I haven't actually started to use it yet, but I figured I would talk to you and then I could ask all the questions I needed to, and then I'll learn something. Let's say I'll be the individual teacher who goes in and sets this up. I put in an AI policy. So then when I'm using it in Google Classroom, I am deciding to what level AI can or can't be used on a particular assignment. Am I good so far?
Exactly right.
Is a part of this also letting students know, or will students be able to see what tools could be used at this level? Is that a feature?
If the teacher wants to put specific tools in the policy language, then yes. But right now, it's simple language. There aren't any links or attachments. I didn't get to the business of kind of streamlining, attaching things to Google Classroom yet, because I figured teachers are going to do that anyway. I don't want to try to take over Google Classroom.
Right.
I just want to support messaging and streamline communication for schools.
And so what does a student see? If I'm, Johnny 6th grader, I go in, or I'm Mary 8th grader, I go into Google Classroom, I see an assignment. What am I going to visually see on an assignment if my teacher is using TrafficLite?
It doesn't look any different than a regular Google Classroom assignment. The only difference is there will be a line of policy language at the bottom of the post, and I color coded it with emojis too, so it stands out. And it's just in So whatever the teacher decides they want written there is what the student will see. And it always lives at the bottom of the instructions.
Okay.
Unless you customize it and change it, it'll inject in the bottom of the instructions. It won't supersede any work the teacher has done. I'm not trying to steal the show. I just wanted to support transparency and the conversation between teachers and students at the point of learning.
When I'm a student, I'm looking at it. Is the language I'm seeing as a student, is that student friendly language? Or let's say I'm in second grade and my teacher is using this. Am I going to see this higher level AI statement from the policy teacher put in? Or is there, I guess, student friendly language that the students see?
It depends on what the teacher decides to write, and so good question. The default language is based on the Leon Furs AI assessment scale.
Okay.
So it's a little advanced, but teachers can easily change it, customize it to suit the needs of their population. And administrators, if and when administrators roll it out for their domain, they can make custom policies for different grade levels and different groups and tag which teachers belong in which group.
Okay.
So that changes what language gets injected into Google Classroom based on the admin settings, more or less.
All right. I mean, so that makes a lot of sense. Again, so you mentioned that obviously you've geared this more towards, the district administrators doing this and kind of rolling it out district wide. Is the interface different for the district personnel versus if I'm the individual teacher, or would I see the same thing just as one person?
So teachers get 2 pages. They get the AI policy and like a help page and the widget on Google Classroom. It's really simple. Administrators get a users and groups page, an AI policy page that looks similar to the teacher AI policy page, but there they can make different policies for different groups. They have the ability to allow teacher override or lock the teacher override for different groups. So they can, like the 7th grade technology staff, they can allow teacher override, let the teachers make their own policies. But maybe the 8th grade English department, I don't want them changing their policy. I don't want those teachers altering this language. So they lock the policies for that group. So there's one extra page for administrators. Administrators can still go into Google Classroom and see the widget. So they get that experience, but it'll be their default domain policy that they see. The cool thing too is the admin users get a data dashboard that lists every Google Classroom post for every teacher in every group and the color they used, and it hyperlinks to Google Classroom. So admin users can click right in, see the Google Classroom post. They can get data on, and they can filter by department, by group, by teacher, by Google Classroom. And it's like simple pie chart data with more thorough tabulated data at the bottom. And that I think is going to continue to evolve. I think on the roadmap, I want to share more just insights and trends. Like, here are your rock stars. Here are your teachers that are living in the green. And here are your teachers who are staying in the red. And actually no color is an option too. It's gray. So like if teachers aren't using it at all, administrators, I think, would want to know that, especially if you put a board approved policy down, right? And I want to say too, Chris, like, I'm not saying every assignment should be AI green. Like,
right.
The standards are what they are, and we're expected to teach them as best we can. And some of those standards are going to be AI red, right? If you're teaching root arithmetic and you don't want your students using AI for that. I get that. So I think the burden to evolve what we ask of kids in terms of like assessments and assignments in the AI era, it's not all on teachers' shoulders. We need a state level shift. We need assessments to change. It's a collective movement. It's going to take time. So in the meantime, while we're working out the kinks and we're in the weeds, we need some clarity. So that's kind of why TrafficLite is what it is right now.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Another question. So you just sort of mentioned that within that dashboard for admin to kind of see the usage and things, you mentioned that obviously they'd be able to see who's not using it. And you also mentioned not every assignment needs to be, AI green and whatnot. If I'm posting an assignment that doesn't require the use of AI at all, and I'm just making a Google assignment that I'm posting on there, does it have to be used on every single assignment, or can it be ignored and not used if AI isn't relevant to what you're actually posting about?
I included the widget on the materials post because I know sometimes people want to use it there, but most likely you're right. If you're just sharing a resource, or if AI isn't even involved, if it's a survey for your students to get, information for an upcoming field trip or something, you leave it gray. It's not supposed to be a part of every little Google Classroom interaction, and I don't want it to be,
Right.
My biggest fear is that like teachers will get annoyed by it and just want it gone. Like I've felt so often with some tools that pop up in weird places. Like even the best tools annoy me sometimes because I'm just hyper focused. And, as a teacher, you got to get through the day. It's like a rapid response job. And so I just hope that I made it sleek and simple enough and light enough that it's not in the way, useful when it needs to be used, and just helpful for the right reasons.
Now, the question that might be on the listener's mind right now is, Derek, how much does this cost? What are, if any, of the fees associated with using TrafficLite?
Chris, you're asking all the hard questions today, man. Questions I don't have all the answers to yet, but I will tell you, I fully intend to keep the teacher TrafficLite portal completely free. It's a nice to have for teachers. It's not something that's going to change the world for them. So I think that nice to haves should always be free. The admin portal, like I said, gives schools a little more control, a little more clarity. So I if schools want admin accounts, I intend to work in a pricing structure based on the number of teachers, because as the number of teachers goes up, so do some of my costs on my softwares.
Sure.
Right. So right now, like really small schools, I'm willing to do, and this is just arbitrary after a few conversations, and I studied the other similar techs in the market.
Well, I'll save you real quick. You don't have to throw out actual numbers.
Okay. Thank you.
Because somebody listens to this in 6 months, the numbers might be different.
The numbers might be different. So
let's go with free for the individual teacher. And if you are a district and you want to integrate this district wide, they should reach out to you.
Yes. And I eventually will have a pricing structure on the website. But right now I'm just looking for pilot partners to use it and try it and meet with me at the end of the pilot and tell me honestly what they liked, what might have sucked, and what could use improvement, where it fell short. Because that's the most valuable thing to me. So originally I was asking for pilot schools like through June, but it's April 2nd. And I know it's probably not an ideal time to roll out a new technology, right? So if a school wants to start in September and try it through the holidays and give me some feedback then, that is totally fine. It would mean the world to me to get some honest feedback from some actual users to make sure I'm on the right path and to make sure it actually is helping, moving the needle in a way I think it can.
Well, I'm going to throw out some advice, and hopefully this helps you out too, because you got goals. So for you, the listener, I think that now, if you're listening to this in April or, early May, and it's still this current 2026 school year, try it out as an individual teacher. Try using it and do your own individual proof of concept, right? Talk to somebody if you need to talk to them, principal, supervisor, try it out and be the tester now, because you've already built up this great rapport with your students families, and this is a great time to experiment. And if you're a district, listen to your teachers and maybe don't throw this at them in September. Like, hey, we did this research. We heard this awesome podcast. We reached out to Derek, experiment now. And then Derek can play and build. And yeah, that's just my own opinion and advice, because we're in a great spot here at the end of the school year to play around with some stuff.
I love that, Chris. And I have some schools doing that right now. And I'm like getting some golden feedback from them. And I'm making the changes so that they're ready for September. And you're absolutely right, man.
Just don't go full Google and, come up with a great feature and say, we're going to have this great feature and it's going to come out between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I have all this stuff ready for September or August for those that go in August.
I fully intend to announce features as they come out. I make no promises. All I want to promise is that I will be fully committed to supporting schools and teachers in any way I can with this tool. It's It's built to help. I'm a one-man show. I've had a lot of help along the way, but when it comes to price, I control it. I control the top and bottom. I'm the marketer. I'm the builder. So I can do what I want with it, and I'm going to do it with fidelity and keep it honest and keep it simple. And we're unaffiliated.
That's a good position to be in, not beholden to the man.
Exactly. Staying that way.
All right. So again, this is TrafficLiteEdu.com, and that's LITE. We've been talking with Derek today. And Derek, if somebody has more questions than I've given you today, how can they get in touch with you, ask questions, and learn more about TrafficLiteEdu?
Yeah, just feel free to email me at any time. Derek, DEREK, at TrafficLiteEdu.com. I will reach out as soon as I get it. I have that email forwarding to all my other email addresses because the conversations are fun to me, and I welcome any questions, feedback, or ideas.
Derek, good luck with TrafficLiteEdu, and thank you for coming on the House of EdTech.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate the time.
Thank you again, Derek, for coming on to the podcast. It was great to connect with you and have that conversation. Now, for you, the listener, let's take a minute and let's unpack this a little bit. Here's what stood out to me in the conversation. It's this idea that AI in schools isn't really about the tools. And I've been saying this for a while. Specifically today, we hit on clarification. Clarity for teachers, clarity for our students, and honestly, clarity for school leadership. Because right now, a lot of schools aren't struggling to access AI. They're struggling with consistency. And what Derek has built really speaks to that gap, bringing expectations right into the moment where the learning is happening through Google Classroom and TrafficLiteEdu. And it's not another full-blown platform. It's not another login. It's just something simple, visible, and actionable. And I think there's a bigger takeaway here as well. The fact that this tool didn't start as an AI policy solution. It became one because Derek listened, paid attention, and was willing to pivot. That's a mindset we can all learn from, and that's bigger picture. Whether you're building tools, leading a school, or just trying to figure out how AI fits into your classroom, sometimes we have to pivot. So the question that I want to leave you with today is this. How are you creating clarity around artificial intelligence for your students right now? Because AI isn't slowing down. Schools are still figuring out what to do. Send me your thoughts, feedback at chrisnessy.com, or you can connect with me on social media, Blue Sky, X, at Mr. Nessy, Instagram, at House of EdTech. Let's continue this conversation. Let me know if you've tried TrafficLiteEdu, or if you're going to, or if there's something else you're doing to let students know when it's okay to use AI in the classroom. And let's put a bow on this episode. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the House of EdTech podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation I had with Derek, please make sure that you subscribe or follow wherever you're listening. I want House of EdTech to be one of your anytime, anywhere professional development podcasts. You can find links to things that we talked about in the episode today, like TrafficLiteEdu.com, in the show notes for this episode. They are a swipe or a tap away where you're listening right now, or you can go out to my website, chrisnessy.com/268. I want to hear from you, so please share your thoughts or questions. You can email me, feedback at chrisnessy.com, or you can leave a voicemail anytime you want at chrisnessy.com/voicemail. If this episode resonated with you, share it with another educator. That's the best way to help spread the word for the podcast. And if you're finding value, consider becoming an awesome supporter. Just go to chrisnessy.com/awesome. And I want to give a special thank you to my current awesome supporters, Leo Calbush, Brian Carpenter, Aaron Cummings, Jeff Herb, and Matt Miller. The next episode of the podcast is going to come your way very soon, and I am hard at work on probably 3 to 4 different episodes. So make sure you're subscribed so that way you don't miss an episode. And now real quick here, I want to share some exciting professional news here at the end of the podcast. I got a new job. Well, let me rephrase that. I got another job. And this has nothing to do with education. This is a passion, a for fun job, a little side hustle career that I have been building really since 2008. And that is my career as a public address announcer. It started for me when I was long-term subbing back in 2008 as a middle school social studies teacher, doing middle school basketball games and playing music, doing the clock, and turning a middle school gym into Madison Square Garden. And then I went on to do it at another high school that I was a long-term sub at, and now I'm doing it where I currently am, where I am the voice. I do the voice of graduation and all these other fun things, sports, football, basketball, baseball, and now I'm going to be considered a true professional, as I will be the public address announcer for the Staten Island Ferry Hawks of the Atlantic League Independent Baseball. So that's very exciting. If you have questions, let me know. And remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try.